Day 7 of the 2025 Italian Open was truly a movie as we witnessed an edgy air show, another heartbreaking Naomi Osaka loss, drama with the stadium lights, and another crazy Sabalenka Kostyuk affair. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about in this latest video. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post my latest or my next Rome update video. Naomi Osaka's 8-match win streak came to an end with a 6-4, 3-6, 7-6 loss to American Peyton Stearns. I said in my latest video that this was a solid chance for Naomi to go really deep in this tournament, but I knew that Peyton would cause her some problems, as first of all, Stearns have been playing very well lately, and I feel like she's even more dangerous on the clay, as I feel like the dirt really complements her game even more, as her forehand, her heavy forehand, is more of a weapon on this surface, and she also hits the forehand with really great angles, and she's just also an overall solid athlete. So it's no surprise that she took the opening set from Osaka, but Naomi looked keen to pull off her third straight win from a set down where she took the second set, and she also went up an early break in the decider 2-love. And this third set was really, it brought us all the drama and crazy momentum shifts. Of course, Osaka, she got the early break, but then Stearns stormed back to roll off 4 games in a row to lead 4-2. And then Osaka then broke back to level it at 4-all. And this 4-all game was where she fumbled her first really big opportunity to win this match. She had 5 break points alone in this 4-all game. Her first 2 chances saw Stearns just hit a solid forehand winner, and then Osaka, she kind of framed the backhand cross court. Then on the third break point, Osaka netted a backhand. And the fourth one, you got to give it up to Stearns. She just hit a really clutch forehand cross court on the line. I thought it was out initially, but it really just hit the line. So props to her for that shot. And then on the 5th opportunity for Naomi, Stearns just hit a strong forehand that just forced the error from Osaka. Really, it just came down to Stearns taking more risk here. And that's something that we could say again in the deciding set tiebreaker. Naomi was just a little bit more passive and was more willing to wait for Stearns' mistakes, which just did not come in that moment. Osaka did well to regroup though, and she of course forced that deciding tiebreaker, which she was in control of, leading it 4-2. And I really thought she was going to take it, especially with Peyton struggling physically, and she just looked all out of sorts. But it just all went off the rails for Osaka at this exact 4-2 point, as she had a wide open backhand cross court that she just barely netted. And you can see right after she missed that backhand, she was clearly rattled, and it looked like she was panicking. And I feel like just she had all that PTSD from all of her prior missed opportunities in this latest comeback. And I just saw her, she was like, oh my gosh, not again. Like, she looked in distress, and it just continues that trend of just her being so close yet so far from that big result. That following point, 4-3, Stearns hit a forehand winner that was just solid, and then the final few points of the match, I think the final 3 points of the match just were Naomi unforced errors, and I feel like she low-key just mentally faltered to give up the rest of the points in the match. It really was a shame for Naomi that she lost this match, as she literally won more points than Stearns. I believe 7 more points to be exact. I think she'll take a lot of positives though, because this event alone in Rome, we've witnessed major growth in her game. I feel she wasn't really bailing out of shots like we're accustomed to previously. She was much more patient and trusted her solid ground game well enough to get her through. And again, I think maybe she was a little bit too trusting in her consistency and wasn't daring enough, but maybe that's something she can learn from in future matches. Now with the loss, Naomi misses out on being seeded at Roland Garros, which means that she will be a big dangerous floater. I feel like she will be the biggest dangerous floater, unseeded player at Roland Garros. And I feel like absolutely nobody will want to see her in the earlier rounds for sure. And Osaka said herself after the match that she feels much more comfortable and confident on clay. And she said that winning her first clay title and winning some matches here in Rome definitely helps her instill more confidence ahead of Roland Garros. So very much looking forward to seeing what she has in store for the year's second slam. I feel like she can go deep there. I feel like the only 2 or the main 2 concerns with her are just the health, like injuries, and then also the mental side of things. But of course, the utmost praise has got to go to the winner from today, Peyton Stearns. Just what a huge effort from her to be able to fight through and win this match despite suffering through that illness. And she threw up after the match, and she later withdrew from her doubles alongside Daria Kasatkina due to gastrointestinal illness. And she has had a lot of close matches, and credit to her for not shying away and still going for her shots. Again, still being sick. Maybe the sickness helped her because she knew that she didn't really want to hang around a lot of rallies. She just went for it, but still, just she fully deserved to win this match. Up next for Stearns is Alina Svitolina, and Alina looked a lot better than in her third round match against Haley Baptiste. Today, she beat Danielle Collins 6-4, 6-2. Collins definitely wasn't on her game like she was against Fiontek. She was more air prone, and I feel like with the type of game Collins plays, he's either more hot or cold, and today she was definitely a little bit more cold. But Alina, she's always a tough out in Rome. She's very consistent. She's a two-time former champion, so I feel like this match was always going to be tough for Danielle. And Alina has now won her last 15 of 16 matches. So definitely I think she's going to be a big Roland Garros contender as well. But focusing on Rome in this next match that Svitolina has against Stearns, I'm going to be giving Alina the slight edge. I think she has much more experience, and it's also going to be a little bit of a quick turnaround for Stearns. Even aside from how physically out of it she looked in this match, she's coming off back-to-back matches, defeating a slam champion in a third set tiebreaker. So she's put on a lot of mileage, not to mention she wasn't afforded that first round bye. So again, I do favor Svitolina to ultimately come out and make another semifinal here in Rome. Now, perhaps the most anticipated match of the day between the former U.S. Open champions Coco Gauff and Emma Raducanu. It definitely disappointed as Gauff handed down a 6-1, 6-2 beatdown to the Brit. Now, I thought Coco would win this match, but I did not expect it to be this straightforward. And these two played one time before in the Australian Open back in 2023, I believe the second or third round. And Coco won that in a tight two-setter, 6-3, 7-6, and Emma had a set point. But a few fans noticed that Coco's forehand has improved immensely since then. And I feel like Coco's shakier forehand gave Emma much more of a chance, not to take anything away from Raducanu, but Gauff's ground game overall has improved. And I feel like Raducanu went with a tried and true tested method of trying to attack Coco's sometimes shakier forehand, but Gauff was not really giving her many unforced errors from that wing. She kept it very clean and tidy. And I think that just Gauff just being too steady and also having the superior athleticism and defensive prowess was just too much for Raducanu. And Coco played a very clean match. She finished with 20 winners to 19 unforced errors. And I also think her solid service day translated well into other aspects of her game. And talking about the serve stats, she made 63% of her first serves in. She won 76% of her first serve points. And she saved all three break points that she faced. So really a solid match from Coco. Now, probably my favorite part of the match was this part at the end of it when a WTA rep gave Coco a phone to take a selfie for like a social thing. And then Emma Raducanu, she unintentionally photobombed it walking by after she lost. I'm just weak at how Coco's smile kind of shifted and faded when she saw Emma in the background. Talk about bad timing. But anyways, Gauff has had a similar tournament, I feel, like Madrid here in Rome. She started Madrid and Rome a little bit shaky, and especially here in Italy against Victoria Mboko in round one, but she's been playing better match by match. And she recently came off a revenge win against Magdalena Linette in the third round, who beat her in Miami. If Gauff can get by these first few matches, I feel, in these tournaments, especially if they're tougher, she can go all the way in the tournaments. So she's definitely dangerous when it comes to the stage because she's only going to be rounding into better form. Now, we will be getting some deja vu as Coco faces Mirra Andreeva for a second straight 1,000 quarterfinal. Andreeva had a much more eventful fourth round match when she defeated Clara Tauson 5-7, 6-3, 6-2. The match was a crazy seesaw battle, which took a dramatic turn at 1-1 in the third set. And in the very first point of this 1-1 game, Mirra hit a swing volley forehand winner, although the court lights came on right before she made contact with that ball. Tauson complained that the point should be replayed, as she did kind of gesture to the umpire before Mirra finished off the point. And the umpire, she reviewed the footage and ruled in favor of Clara and made the players replay this point. Mirra understandably was very upset because she would have won the point regardless of the lights coming on. And if anything, the lights impacted her more than it did Clara. But I do understand why the ump made that call, because on paper, it was the safe thing to do. It was a hindrance nonetheless, I guess, although I would have just personally given Mirra the point because I know that she would have won the point regardless. Anyways, Andreeva, she ended up losing the point when it was replayed, and she went down 15-40 in this game, facing 2 break points. And I was expecting Mirra to go off the rails at this point, but she dug in deep and got the hold. And the crowd got on Mirra's side after this whole ordeal, as they felt that she had been done done dirty and cheated out at that point. So much so that some of the crowd cheered Clara's double faults, which Tauson was not happy about. The Dane actually checked one man in particular in the crowd, repeatedly saying, "Who are you?" which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, Andreeva was just too solid in the end and won 5 of the last 6 games of the match. It was just very impressive how she raised her level in the end of this one. It goes to show just still how mentally tough she is. Sometimes she can be a little bit immature with how she smashes the balls at times, but I think this was a very poised and impressive performance from Andreeva. Now, talking about her next match with Coco, I think that still Gauff has the edge. She, of course, is 3-0 against Andreeva, and I don't really think Mirra enjoys the slower clay conditions here in Rome too much. Although she did finish very strong against Tauson, maybe that end of the match will help turn things around for Andreeva and help her play even better as the tournament progresses. Even though the Madrid match was straightforward in the end for Coco, Mirra had 2 set points at 5-4, and I feel like if she took that first set, she could have taken, of course, the whole match. You never know. I think this match will be closer than in Madrid, but I'm still going to be siding with Gauff to pull through, I guess maybe in 3 sets. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, meanwhile, earned her 15th straight WTA 1000 win and her 2nd straight over Marta Kostyuk, defeating the Ukrainian 6-1, 7-6 to advance to the Rome quarterfinals. The first set of this match was just all Aryna. She only needed 31 minutes to give the breaststroke to Kostyuk, and the second set, though, brought us that back and forth tussle that we expected coming into this one. Kostyuk was nipping at Sabalenka's heels bad, and she was constantly applying pressure to Big Lenka, but Aryna came up with some incredible breakpoint saves. And it took Marta about 13 or 14 breakpoints before she finally broke Aryna's serve for the first time. But Sabalenka showed why she's the world number 1, as she immediately broke back at love and won 3 games in a row to put herself in position to serve for the match. But unsurprisingly, Sabalenka was unable to serve it out, and then the two played a tiebreaker which saw Aryna save a set point before closing it out on her 3rd opportunity. This was just another crazy match from these two. It was like a 90-something minute second set, just crazy stuff. Just imagine what we could have gotten if it went 3 sets. That would have been a for sure top 5 or like top 10 match of the year contender. But Sabalenka again showed why she's the world number 1. She just raises her level another notch, and I feel like she just is by far the most match tough player there is on tour. She's so difficult to beat. And it's just, again, crazy to reflect back on even 3 years ago. Sabalenka wouldn't be winning many of these matches that she's coming out on top of, like sometimes not playing her best. But when the cards are down, whatever the saying is, she raises her level enough to get herself through these matches. This is a really entertaining budding rivalry between Sabalenka and Kostyuk. Even though Kostyuk has never even won a set against Sabalenka in their 4 meetings, both these two are big ball strikers. Sabalenka is just more the superior ball striker, and she's more consistent from the ground. But Mirra is a better mover, and she hustles down so many balls, which made for some tremendous rallying. Up next for Sabalenka is Jung Chin-Win, who beat Bianca Andreescu 7-5, 6-1. These two have played 6 times, with Sabalenka taking all of them. I believe she's only dropped 1 set in their 6 previous meetings, but this will be their first match on the clay. Does this mean that Jang has a better shot? Perhaps. You know, I feel like maybe Sabalenka would be a little bit tired. I don't know. I feel like she was a little bit of a step off trying to chase some of those drop shots against Kostyuk, so you never know. Their last meeting was this year at the Miami Open quarterfinals, where Jang, she had an opportunity to really take the second set, but Sabalenka rose her level and Jang's level just dipped. Chin-Win really needs to be on her P's and Q's, and whenever she senses an opportunity, she's got to go for it. She cannot let Sabalenka get away with, escaping all these breakpoint chances. I know they're tired of playing each other, because low-key I am, but again, maybe this being their first match on clay will bring something edgy and new to the table. And then the final quarterfinal matchup to talk about is going to be between Jasmine Paolini and Diana Schneider. Paolini, she made her first quarterfinal here in Rome, defeating Jelena Ostapenko 7-5, 6-2. And this is good revenge for Paolini, because she was mollywopped 2-2 by Ostapenko in Doha. Diana Schneider, she dispatched of Elisa Mertens 6-2, 6-3. And Princess D has definitely been flying under the radar in Italy, as she's dropped the fewest games out of all the women en route to the quarterfinals here in Rome. Now, transitioning to talking about the man Jannik Sinner, of course, the big star of this year's Rome Italian Open, he picked up his 23rd consecutive consecutive match win, defeating Dutch lucky loser Jesper de Jong 4-2. Now, this match was so-so from Jannik, wasn't really that all impressive, and the lucky loser, he injured his wrist and couldn't really do anything much to finish off the match, so it was kind of like an easy walkover for the like mid second set and on for Jannik. Definitely Cerundolo needs to step it up in this next match against Francisco Cerundolo, as the Argentinian is seeking his fourth 1,000 quarterfinal of the season. Francisco can definitely win this match. The head-to-head between him and Jannik is tied at 2 apiece. His issue is just choking, to be honest. I feel like, though, the thing that's helping him is that he's gone past the stage of making a quarterfinal in the 1,000. The issue with him, I feel, is maybe the quarterfinals and on of these big tournaments, he just can't get over the finish line. So I don't know. I really could see an upset for Cerundolo. I wouldn't be surprised if he got his scalp here in beating Sinner. Casper Ruud through to the 4th round in Rome. He got a retirement win from Matteo Berrettini after the Italian had some type of, I think it was a side injury. I'm not exactly sure. He was down 7-5 2-love when he pulled the plug. Casper now faces Spaniard Jaime Munar, who earned his 6th top 25 win of this season alone, defeating Sebastian Korda 4-2. I'm very impressed by Munar. He beat Ben Shelton, only dropping 3 games in the prior round, so I think definitely he's strong on clay, he's very consistent. So maybe why not him make his, I believe this would be his first 1,000 quarterfinal. You never know. Young Czech Jakub Mensik, he makes his 3rd straight 1,000 4th round after beating Fabio Marajan 6-4, 7-6. And he now plays Hubert Hurkacz, who beat American Marcos Giron in 3 sets. Speaking of Americans, Tommy Paul was able to get a win. He beat Thomas Machac for the very first time by a score of 6-3, 6-7, 6-4. And he's now going to be seeking his very first win over Alex de Minaur, who actually has an incredible 5-0 record against the American Paul. Now, looking ahead to day 8, previewing some matches, some top matches on the men's side. First, there's Khachanov and Alcaraz. Carlos leads the head-to-head between these two 4-0, and he's actually never lost a set against Karen. I have Carlos making it 5-0 against the Russian. Next is Lorenzo Musetti against another Russian, Dino Medvedev. Medvedev has a 2-0 head-to-head over Lorenzo, although he won both those matches in 2023, a time where Dino was playing some of his best tennis and Musetti really wasn't the same Musetti that he is now. I think Musetti, being the stronger of the two on clay, being the more comfortable on the clay, plus having the Italian crowd support, will be the favorite here against the 2023 champion, Medi. Then the biggest match of the day for me is going to be between the second seed and defending champion Alexander Zverev against Frenchman Arthur Fils. These two love to meet in the round of 16 at 1000s. They met in Miami in the round of 16. Fils took that in 3 sets. Before that, they met in the Paris indoors round of 16, which Zverev took in 3 sets. And Zverev, I believe he leads the head-to-head 3-2. And Fils, he's coming off that interesting 3rd round win over Stefano Tsitsipas. Zverev, meanwhile, he's cruised through to this round, only dropping 7 games in his first 2 matches. This match is going to be very, very important for Alex. He's going to be very keen, I feel, to get this win, as he is searching for his first 1,000 quarterfinal of the season. And he's also defending champion here in Rome. And if he were to lose this match, he would drop down to number 3 in the world and be 3rd seeded for Roland Garros. This one is going to be tough for me to call. Can't bet against my boy Fils, though. I'm going to be picking Arthur to come through and win this one in 3 sets to deny Zverev a 1,000 quarterfinal again. That's all I have for this one. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Naomi and whether you think that she will eventually get over the hump and score a big standout result in this comeback. And also, was the umpire right in that Andreeva-Tauson call? Let me know. I feel like the comments are going to be pretty divided on that one. And then also give me your predictions on some of the edgy matchups, like between Gauff, Andreeva, Cerundolo, Sinner, and of course Fils and Zverev. Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my Rome Day 8 recap video. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you all next time here on Christian's Court.